everybody. Deepak, are we ready to start?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are.
I'll just introduce, just a minute. I'm Anita from Vaya Vikas. It is a registered trust with a dream to build and strengthen an ecosystem for seniors that empowers them to lead a productive and meaningful life. We are a community of senior citizens, and we have an online platform. It has a focus on a wide range of services, starting from legal, health and wellness, and engagement that includes volunteering and jobs. To know more about our services, you can log into our website. Welcome to today's webinar on financial planning. Before I introduce a speaker, I request everyone to mute themselves. You may ask questions in the chat box or raise your hand once Deepak finishes his presentation. Okay. Mr. Deepak Shenoy is a CEO at Capitalmind, an SEBI registered portfolio manager, and he manages over 1,000 crores. Deepak loves to write and decode the complexity of finance, money, and investing. His views appear regularly in leading financial media and business television channels like CNBC, TV18, CNBC Awaaz, and ET Now. Please go ahead, Deepak.
Hi, thanks, Anita. I hope you can hear me.
I am not able to see you. Yeah.
You can see, you can hear me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Awesome.
You can share. Are you able to share your screen?
I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, we can.
Okay, brilliant. I have the. Okay, so I have the. So I'll do this. I'll keep this relatively short. I know that there may be a lot more questions than I have planned for. So thanks so much, Anita, for that introduction. I think, as much as we've been in the financial world, every day new things come up and every day things change. I'm sure all of us face this problem, and more so people who there are different reasons, different things for different people in different stages of life. So what applies to somebody may not apply to somebody else. It's all the more confusing as we grow. So I'll do this presentation with the thought process of building, understanding what all the challenges are that people in who are close to their retirement or after retirement are facing, perhaps. A few instances of where certain things may change or are changing rapidly now, and just a few suggestions on what I think what are the different things that you can do. I'll take some stories and keep it kind of peppered with some enthusiasm. But if you would like to ask a question, I guess you could ask it in the chat. I suppose.
Yes, in the chat box, or they could raise their hand. Either of the two will do.
So yeah, please feel free, and I'll keep the chat box on so that we can answer any pertinent questions immediately, and later we'll do a longer round of questioning.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so
Anita.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Should I? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to just start with challenges that I think you might be facing, and let me just go through these challenges concepts first, and maybe some of the thought process that I have in terms of how you might be going in. Now, one of the things that you might actually be looking at is something like how do I keep myself, engaged? So when you're in the income earning part of your career, you're actually worried about life insurance, because if something happens to you, then your family has to be taken care of. There are people who depend on your income and so on. But once you pass the income earning phase, once you're retired, there is no reason for you to take life insurance, because at this point, there are probably no dependents on your income, and plus you may not be having an income. So you may already have a certain amount of corpus. At this point, you should not bother with regular life insurance. And there are other aspects of life insurance which I'll come to, where people will tell you, okay, you can save so much money and you'll get this and that and all that. And some of those products have become increasingly less useful for you as senior citizens, not because they are, they're not, they don't apply to you, but because there are alternatives that are way better, way more accessible, and way more liquid as well. And what you have, you should enjoy, and you should, plan with more importantly. And I'll go to how you should plan for it in the next slide. But life insurance is no longer required. You may need savings, you may need investments, but we can talk about that as we go along. Now, one of the things that will also bother you is health and medical. Now, if you have an insurance on the health and medical front, make sure it's sufficient, because right now to get a new insurance will cost you a lot of money. It may be that you have insurance from the past that's allowing you to continue.
Just 1 minute, Deepak. I think some people cannot hear. Maybe you need to increase your volume or something.
Okay, move this closer.
I can hear you. I don't know why other people can't. Just still increase your volume. Is that okay, everybody? Can you hear? Please let us know. Hello?
Yeah, I can. I'm just checking. Output level is the highest.
Okay. You're audible, very much audible.
Okay. So go ahead then.
I moved the mic up so that you can hear me.
Okay, please go ahead then. Yeah.
So, so I mean, if your health and medical insurance that if you already have it, maybe you're even working with someone, you may actually reduce, or increase it according to what has happened. Now, what has happened in the last few years is, because of COVID, everybody has increased their hospital rates. So what used to be okay as maybe 5 lakh rupees for a family, now you need to bump it up to 10 lakh rupees at least for this thing. And the scale of insurance has also changed. So earlier, right now, they would cover certain types of hospitalization measures, but now you might actually see a lot more procedures that may be required to be covered, especially if you're inside. Now, I do see Virendra has asked, is raised his hand. Anita, should I go for the questions in the middle, or should we wait till the end?
I think it's a better idea if you finish everything and then we can take the questions all together.
Okay. Virendra, I'll take the questions. Okay, I think.
Unless you want to finish one section and then start asking the questions.
I'll finish one section and then take some
finish
questions.
one section, yeah.
Yeah. So the important point of this is that the idea here is health is a complex subject, and you will actually change your health. Your health will change over time. So one of the things that you should have is some form of control on the health. So health costs. So which means it could be from your corpus itself, where you keep a certain amount of money aside for medical emergencies, maybe of the order of 10, 20, 30 lakhs. That depends on the corpus that you have. Of course, if you have lesser, then you'll need something. Your children may have insurance and their employer plans, which allow them to take their parents along with the program. Your children could also buy insurance and it gives them a tax benefit if they buy it actually. So that is another aspect to consider when you have insurance. Your employer may provide insurance. Many public sector enterprises and large companies continue to provide insurance benefits to their employees even after they're retired. So that is also a good thing. You would otherwise keep a certain portion of your money aside for insurance emergency needs. Now, this emergency need should cover at least something that will require hospitalization. So currently, even even a regular surgery, a heart surgery or anything like that will minimum cost you 2 lakhs, I think. Putting stents also will cost you about that much. So that is like the bare minimum you would need to actually insure, but you might need more than that. Note that I am seeing some lines on the this thing, but I guess somebody tried to put some lines on it here. Yeah, I'll move to the next slide. It will go off. Okay. Well, I'm just going to remove this annotations. Okay, so that it's gone. Now, if you have money after that, the money that you have should be enough to meet all your needs going forward. Now, to give you a rough idea of how this works, one of the ways that you can think about it is, let us say you are 60 today and you are going to plan till the age of 90. And today you're spending, let us say, 50,000 rupees per month. And I don't know if you can see this, but hang on. I'm going to annotate. Okay. So can you guys see this new window that I have opened?
Yes.
It's visible. Okay. So I can show you this. This is a small tool we had built in the past. So let us say I am actually 60 years old. And let me just say that I want to just plan so that I can live on till I'm 90 years old, and I spend 50,000 rupees per month. Now, what is the amount of money I am going to need in case I am ultra conservative? I just put my money into a fixed deposit earning 7%. The answer to that is roughly, there you go, 0. Yeah. It's about 1.4 crores. So that if I have 1.4 crores, even if the amount of money I have increases by 5% every year, that means my 50,000 today will increase by 50,000 5% next year, then another 5%, then another 5%, and you can experiment with different values. So for instance, if you think inflation is actually 10%, then you're going to need 2.9 crores. So higher the inflation, the higher the corpus you need. So typically I would say 5% right now, for the most part, if you keep your medical needs aside, this is just for you to be able to enjoy yourself and continue to live your lifestyle till the age of 90. You're going to need 1.5 crores. What will happen in that is 1.5 crores at 7% will give you roughly 10 lakhs, out of which you're spending 6 lakhs. 50,000 a month is 6 lakhs. So you spend 6 lakhs, the remaining 4 lakhs goes back into the corpus. It earns another 7% and so on, all the way till your age 90. But your expenses keep going up. 50,000 a year becomes 52,500, then 55,000, then 58,000 and so on. It keeps increasing every year. So in roughly 15 years, by the time you're 75, your expenses have doubled. And by the time you're 90, your expenses have gone up 4 times, but this money should last you till the age of 90. So this is the how much is enough part of things. Do you have enough to meet this? So let us say you have more, you have 2 crores. The extra money can be spent by you in whatever way you want, because now you're taking care of your basic needs and you're taking care of your say medical needs, and you still have 50 or 60 lakhs left. And then that extra money you can use to enjoy yourself. You can spend it, you can do whatever you want with it and so on. If not, you have to consider 2 things. One is, what you should not do is, 8% will not do. Let me go and try to get 10% of my money. Then it will be okay. That is a bad idea, because if you take risk with money that should not be risked, then if you lose it for whatever reason, some market will go up, market will go down, you would have invested in something, it may have lost money. Whatever happens, that will make you feel extremely miserable. So if you don't take higher risk just because you don't have enough. So I think a better way to do this would be to say, I will find alternate sources of income. And one of the sources can be many of you may have opportunities to work, to consult, or to do something on that front. You may have other avenues of passive income which are already there. You may have an extra house that is giving you rent. You may have other mechanisms to earn money. That is one. Or you may already own a house, and banks now offer something called a reverse mortgage. This is actually not the best product for you, but it should be last ditch effort. But you can take a house and a loan against it from a bank. The bank will not only charge you the interest. In fact, no, it won't even charge you the interest. They'll pay you on a monthly basis. And then that monthly payment after you pass away, then before the next generation gets it, they have to pay the loan outstanding for the house, and then they can, it will inherit to them. So in a way, it ensures that you can continue to stay in the same place for a long time, without having to now start to work. This is only in case you find that your income sources are not enough to meet this. Of course, there will always be, you can talk to your children and all that stuff, but at this age, you probably don't want to. You want to be self-sufficient and make sure that everything is okay. This way, a reverse mortgage can help you build a financial income if in case the amount of corpus you have is not sufficient to meet your expenses till, say, the age of 1995. Now, your other problem will be, of course, now many of you may have just retired and then there's so much time. And, a lot of times people work for a long time and the stress of not working is also very high. So people get, you cannot relax and all that. So maybe it's a concerted effort to reduce that stress by finding something meaningful to do as well. And that, of course, we cannot cover in this presentation, but over time, I think it would be good even organizations like Vaya Vikas will actually help you channel your energies in the right direction as well. But whatever you do, you should find out, some of it may take money to do. So it should be done with money that is excess of what you need for your retirement.
Stress of not working is very high. Oh, okay. So unless you keep yourself engaged,
oh, sorry, I think someone else is speaking.
So we can have this discussion a little later. Can Mr. Shenoy carry on right now? Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'll do this and then I'll take some questions, because then I think it'll be easier for us to do things.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things you do is you should keep the money that you have organized. Now, for instance, one of the things I always say is, before I go there, I think it's important. I'll come back to this. And one of the things around health and medical, I forgot, and I think someone, Purushottam and Prakash mentioned it. 15 lakh basic medical and 25 lakh top up is more than enough. I think right now, for at least for a family of two, at least, if it's a couple, then I think it's more or less enough. Just make sure that the medical insurance covers everything, in the sense of they don't say, oh, if you minimum is, we will not cover unless it's more than 50, more than 1 lakh, more than 2 lakh, that will come out of your pocket. The other one was, is it useful to get a top-up plan, or there's a super top-up concept? So you can take a basic insurance for up to 10 lakhs, but up to 10 lakhs will cover about 90% of the problems that you may have. Above 10 lakhs will be some problems which you cannot foresee. Maybe that cost can be even 50 lakhs. So from 10 to 50, if you take a super top-up cover, it may not cost very much, maybe 10,000 rupees a year, but up to 10 lakhs, they will not pay. Only about 10 lakhs they will pay. So that way you can say up to 10 lakhs I can take care of, or I can buy an separate insurance, or I have some other thing. But about 10 lakhs, some super top-up insurance should pay. So you can take the super top-up, and that's a good thing. Okay, so we have that. I'll just go back to where we are. One of the reasons why you should have number of more than one bank account is something I'll come to later, but you should minimize, not have more than 2 or 3 bank accounts. There's a reason why you should have more than one, is that the number one reason is, in case the bank you're working with for whatever reason is not working, the ATM is not working, the bank has said, oh, no, the system, we go to the bank also, they'll say, sir, system is down. The system is down is a big problem. And, after some time, you get frustrated with these things. So keep 2 accounts, I would say. One you should use as your primary account, the other one as a backup. So in case one is not working, you can use the other one. If you're a couple, you should have both accounts joint holding. One of them can be one person primary, the other person secondary, second. The other can be the other, so wife first, husband second, and husband first, wife second. That way, what will happen is any statement, anything where one person is required to pay in his name only or her name only, then payment can be made from that particular account. Since both are joint, if anything happens to one of you, the transition to the other one is very easy. It's joint account, so it's both jointly operated. They're called either or survivor mode. So you can tell the banks to do this. And the only point could be complicated is if you're getting a pension, they may ask you if you have an independent account, that means without a joint holder. But usually they don't. They just say first holder should be the person. Otherwise, just having two accounts is more than enough. Different banks, don't hold it in the same bank. Just have it in different bank, just in case something happens to one bank. You always know the other bank is available as a safety. I don't think anything will be a big problem, but still. In a demat account, if you're holding demat things like bonds, stocks, shares, all of those things, you can appoint your partner as a joint holder. Usually do this only with partners. So in the sense that the joint holder should only be your wife, your spouse, your husband or your wife. There's a good reason for this, is that anyway, children will be nominees. Okay, so anything will happen to both of you, then they will inherit the asset. But you don't need to have them as joint holders in your demat accounts, unless, of course, you have inherited or you wanted to create something. Joint holding in demat is good. Good to primarily have with the partner in mind, and list your children as the nominees in the demat account. Now, what's good about the demat account is anything happens to you, let's say your spouse just has to give a letter. The shares in that account will remain exactly as it is. Dividends will also, this thing will be exactly as it is, except one person's name can be removed, the other person becomes the only holder. I think that's how the demat system operates. It's very clean. If both of you pass away, then the nominees will get the shares transferred to them, equal or something like that. That process you have to set up now, saying this is my nominee and so on. There is a there is a complexity in the investment account here in India, is that different demat providers. So your demat provider could be Zerodha, could be ICICI, could be HDFC and all that. They may have slightly different processes. So having multiple demat accounts, not usually suggested, but if you do have them, ensure the nominees are there in all of them. That you should make sure, you can ask them, tell me who my nominees are. They will send a statement. And then if the nominees are not written, then you make sure that the nominations are done. Now, there are third things called investment mutual funds. So if you have bought mutual funds, they may not be in demat accounts. They may not, they're different and all that. So here is where it's complicated. First, assume that you need to go to every single mutual fund and ensure that that mutual fund has your nominations in place. That means here you should not do joint holding. You should do only single holding with the spouse as the nominee, or if spouse is not there, then the children as the nominees. The idea over here is joint holding is very painful because you cannot operate online. You cannot do any ask for any statement. They will say, if you ask, then the other person should also give their assent and all that. It's very complicated. So do individual holding in mutual funds, make sure there is a nomination. In the nomination, the reason what happens in case one person passes on is that the nominee has to go to every individual mutual fund. So HDFC mutual fund is one, ICICI is one, Edelweiss is one, Franklin is one. You have to give applications to each mutual fund house separately. Whereas in a demat account, if you have shares of Reliance and TCS and Infosys and all that, you don't have to inform each company. You just have to tell the demat provider this nomination has changed. It will automatically change. You don't have to contact the companies. Even if you have 500 companies in that demat account, all of the companies the ownership will change when the demat account ownership is changed. For mutual funds, every single mutual fund you have to contact separately and then change the nomination. That's the that's the downside. But keep this organization done once. Even if you do it once, it's fine. It'll take you some time, but it'll make sure everything is organized for you. In fact, I suggest you do this anyway. I mean, even if you're young, you should do this. It should not only be for seniors, but for many people. Now we are working and all that. You've not bothered to see what all has happened so many times. So it may be better to do all of this here. Okay, I'll pause here for a minute and take questions. I'll just take one of the questions. Bandwidth, how valid is your assumption of 5% inflation in the future? We don't know. So we are only making assumptions based on what we have. And how is also the assumption one will live for 90 years? You have to make an assumption. You can make for 100, you can make for 150. So I don't know what the answer to that is, but India's average age of living, 2011 census was 76 or 77 years old. I think it'll be 81, 82 now, but it'll become 90 with the progresses in science for the most part. And of course, the idea is to live longer as long as one wants, but also to ensure that, when you are, you can, if you plan to live till 200, it's possible, but it's a different way to think about it. I don't know what happens there, but also 5% inflation right now. I will say 5% inflation matters. It's about how much you spend. So for instance, for my mother, who's 70 years old, inflation is probably of the order of 4 or 5% per year, almost all through. And that's because of her lifestyle. She does not like to spend like crazy. She does not spend on things that inflate like crazy. She does, there are certain things that she spends on, but that the prices of those things, like for instance, she cooks and then prices of onions will go to 40 rupees, then come back to 10 rupees. Right now it is 10, 15 rupees in where she buys from. Where I buy from, it is 25 rupees. Simply because we live in slightly different locations. But for her, that inflation has not been as high as maybe it is for someone else. But for someone else who is ridden with, say, medical issues, where certain medicines, they have increased in price a lot. For them, the difference will be quite high in terms of inflation, how it has been. So I think in overall, if you look at a 10-year period, 5% inflation means in 10 years, roughly, your spending will go up 80%. So you think of yourself in 2011 and 2021 or 2013 and 2023 and see how much your expenses have actually increased by. Many times after retirement, your expenses come down, not go up. You don't have, for instance, you don't have to go to office every day, so you don't have the petrol expenses that you used to have. You may not have certain other expenses with respect to, just living healthier is a different, it creates a different layer of expenses. You may have more travel expenses, but less, in-city or eating out expenses, just because you don't need to eat out every time you're outside, because earlier at work, you do that all the time. Whereas now you're more organized about eating out. So how much you need to spend on is today will be a function of your lifestyle. Cool. I think Purushottam had another question of how to do asset diversification. How much? I'll come to that. That's in the next part of how we should plan. One of the things that I will tell you is this: first, get your core money organized. So for instance, any money that you need for the next 4 or 5 years should not be in any risky things like equities. If you've got a 5-year mindset, above that, any money can be placed in equity. So if you want money over a period of, say, 30 years, the first 5-year money should come from your fixed deposits or something that is very safe. And then anything after that, you can think about coming from the equity market. So you can organize your thing. So we tell people in general, 50-50 is the good place to start. If you have the risk appetite. If you don't have the risk appetite, go down as much as 0% equity also. It's not required to have equity. And otherwise, there are many other ways to increase your equity. See, for people who have a lot of money, much more than they need. So I said 50,000 a month, you need 1.5 crores. So some person may have 3-4 crores because retirement and all that stuff. So the extra money, part of it can be put in equities also, because that is not going to change your lifestyle into the age of 90. But if you have less money, then you should not risk the excess money into equities. That's how I want to put it. If single name in DMAT, can we add joint holder? This depends on the DMAT provider. Many of them allow. Some of the people say, no, we have to close this DMAT and open a new one with the new things. So what you can do is open a new one, transfer the securities, and then that becomes your thing. That does not cause any tax, this thing, as long as the first holder is the same. Joint account in mutual funds, you can't. Why is it painful? Is you can't, many of them don't allow you to transact online. So today you have to send one paper document to, or sign, both of you have to sign, and all means problematic. Nowadays you have apps. In the apps only you can do the transactions. But if you have a joint account holding, they may not allow you to redeem. They may allow you to invest, but they may not allow you to take the money out, which is a big problem, because then what's the point, right? So that is one thing that you have this thing. Any health insurance that covers OPD, I know that there was an insurance by for the Canara Bank as a group insurance. So there may be some insurance packages that are group insurance packages that allow certain kinds of OPD expenses to be claimed. But nowadays what's happened is, because of a little bit of abuse by some people, where OPD expenses have been manufactured and claimed as insurance and all that, that has become a problem, and therefore many people don't accept. They say, no, we want to see evidence of an actual problem, and it will only do it in case you have had a surgery. So after surgery, post-surgery OPD we will cover, but not like that only, and all that stuff. So that is there. Okay, I'll take one more question. What is your advice for widows or widowers? Yes. So I think here, instead of thinking now joint account, you're actually thinking of a single account with nominees. That may be a better thing. My father passed away in 1997. So with my mom, all her mutual fund accounts are only in her name with the children as nominees. She has accounts, bank accounts. The main primary accounts that she operates are only in her name with the children as nominees. She has a joint account with me. She has a joint account with my sister as well, a different joint account. So that is when she wants to do certain things that I can help with. She transfers money into that account, and then I do that thing online for her. For instance, paying income tax. She does not know how to pay it online. So she transfers money here. I pay income tax for her through that account. And then so on. So that way it's all, it makes it easier for her. Otherwise, the money, there's only minimum balance in that account. That is how you can do things. I would also say that, to be honest, the challenges here should not be, and I will advise you something very specific, and I'll come to that in the subsequent slides. And this will apply to whether widow or widower, or independent, or couples who are older as well. Let me just go there. This is the important thing. You may be a senior, but that does not mean you should give away your money when you're there. It should not. You should keep your money with you as long as you live. There is no better way for me to say it. This is nothing. I'm nothing against your children or children in general and all that. I love my children also. But we have seen too many instances, all of us, I think, and where if there is a transition of wealth from a senior citizen to the children, in certain cases, these children have done damaging things, like tell their parents to leave the house, saying, now you have transferred it to my name, you are no longer owner of the house, please go. I have heard of this even happening when the children are in the US and the mother has transferred here, and from the US she's sending a legal notice saying, I want to sell the house, please leave. Such things have happened. You don't want this to happen to you. So don't give away any ownership, not house, not money. It all stays with you. They're all nominees. After you go, they will get it. Don't give it away. Give it away while you are alive. Do not give. And whether you're couple, widower, it does not matter. whatever it is, it should stay with you as long as you're alive. This has, as I said, nothing to do with what anything. It's just avoid the situations at any point. Second one, you want to create a will and legacy planning and charity. This is all completely your product. Unless you have inherited the wealth, then you have to pass it on to the next generation. If it is your own wealth, then you can do whatever you want with it, including give it away, put it in charity. The one way to do is you can think about doing legacy planning in different ways. So for instance, if you want to plan to leave some wealth to your grandchildren or children, you can create separate accounts for them and transfer some of that money now. Not all, I mean, not don't transfer, leave enough with you. This is only the excess money that you have. And you may pass on your wealth to the right people that you want. So it may not be just your children. It could be nephews, nieces, relatives, a certain charitable organization that you like, or anything like that, where you see the benefit will help a lot of people. This is, you have to create a plan for this charity. And what I would suggest in general, even when it comes to charity or anything else, is instead of doing one time, do smaller amounts regularly. I know many charities who look for, they need only roughly 200 to 500 rupees per day to feed 20, 30 people. That 500 rupees per day adds up to like, say 10,000 rupees a month. So instead of doing 1 lakh rupee charity, do 10,000 per month instead of doing 1 lakh at one time, because, it will help them also, because they get proper cash flow management as they go on. Now comes the interesting thing. Okay, what about risking money? Like you're saying, investing in stocks, you're doing P2P, you're doing what you don't need for 5 years, you can do. And you should do it when you have the ability to do it. For instance, you might say, equities are risky. Equities have gone up and down. We have seen that today also market has gone down, or a few days back it was up. Sometimes the market is up 30%, sometimes it is down 20%. If you cannot see your money, if you put 100 rupees, if it goes to 130, that's very good. But from 100, if it falls to 80, you feel miserable. You want to reduce that misery. So if you take your money and you say, I'll put all of it into equity, all of it will go up and down. So you put a small portion. So let's say if you have 100 rupees, you put only 30 rupees in equity. 70 rupees is still safe. Even 30 rupees falls by 20%. 30 rupees will become 24 rupees. But you have 100, right? 100 has lost 6 rupees. So it is a lot lesser. 6% is easy to digest. So you can keep 30% in equity. And the way you can invest in equity is, again, multiple funds. Where one layer would be directly investing in stocks in your name. If you have the ability and the time and the skill, I typically say you need the time, the skill, and the inclination. All three you need. The skill meaning, do you have the ability to track these stocks, understand what they do, go into the details of them as they progress also. Second one, do you have the inclination? That means, is this what you like doing? Because otherwise, this will be like doing homework when you're 65 years old, saying, oh, I have to do every day, read paper, understand what this Reliance fellow has done, what this Infosys fellow has done. So if it is something that you find difficult to do, then don't do stocks directly. You have the time, inclination, and skill, all three. Then you should directly do stocks. If you don't have them, you should consider using a mutual fund or an intermediate vehicle to invest. Many times there are some advisors also who may be able to help you. Remember this, that we can take questions on this, but whatever you do, if you're using a mutual fund, for instance, no matter what it is, you should have a long-term thought process. That means if it's a third party, that any 1 or 2 years, markets may go up or down. But if you look at 5 or 10 years, that is when the markets will give you the best kind of returns. So whatever you invest in, think of it as, I will invest in for long term, and only long term I'll evaluate whether this was good or not. What you want is something that beats inflation in the long term. Let us say inflation for you is 7%. Then you want 10%, 11%, and so on. In equities, your taxation is very less. So FD taxation is the worst. if you put an FD for even at 8%, you pay 30% tax because you're in the highest bracket, let us say, or higher brackets. Then you're getting only 5.6% post-tax. That 5.6% is reinvested. And then it's only compounds at 5.6%. Whereas in a mutual fund, instead of 8%, let's say it gives you 7%. 7% also will compound at 7%, will become, will keep increasing. You will not pay any tax until you exit. That exit may be after 4 or 5 years. And when you exit, your taxation may be only 10% of the taxation. That means out of 7%, you'll get 6.3 post-tax, which is better than even an 8% FD, simply because of the taxation differential between the two. So I would say in general, using a mutual fund as a vehicle is a good idea. In fact, in many cases, it can be a replacement for fixed deposits also, but I'll come to that at a later point, because that has more complexities in terms of a mutual fund can go up and down. In FD, you don't really go down, right? You only go up. It just maybe a little bit less up than more up, but in general, they will be only up. So there's a slight risk in mutual funds also. There are things called equity mutual funds, there are things called debt mutual funds. And what's in the middle is something called hybrid. In the hybrid, they invest partly in equity, partly in debt. Debt mutual funds are like when the mutual fund itself goes and buys things like FDs, but not from banks. They can invest into company debt, into short-term paper, government debt, all of these they can invest in and give you the returns minus their fees. Their fees are of the order of 0.2 to 0.3% per year. In equities, if you do through mutual funds, they may charge you 1% per year, higher for equities, lower for debt funds. You can do a combination of these to build long-term wealth. Okay. So alongside, when you're doing all of these things, you may be doing insurance, health insurance, stocks, bonds, lots of things will come your way. Whatever you do, keep a record of it in some kind of a diary or online. That will be the thing that your partner or your children will be able to use to get an idea of where all your money is saved. Today, earlier it used to be that one bank was there, one FDs are there. Today, you will have some PF somewhere, some PPF somewhere, something else. Everything will be in different places. They'll have different maturity dates. You should record it and keep it. Once a year or once in 6 months, revisit and see where it is all kept. Okay. So since before I go here, any questions? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Anybody has any questions? I can't see anybody's
I can't see any hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, you can raise hands. Or
I have a question. This is Purushottam Kudwa here.
Hi.
Hi. I had a question. Will you be talking about asset diversification in terms of how much you put in equities? And I know equities should be typically after 5 years, but what percentage of your corpus should be in equities, in debt? And should you consider real estate? Should you consider gold and things like that?
Yeah, do I have a chart for this? Let me just see 1 second. Okay, so no, so I haven't put anything on gold and other stuff. Let me come to that first. I think gold is not a useful thing to keep for the long term, not from an asset perspective, but in general, I feel that it has no return. There's not much return. You can buy these sovereign gold bonds and all that. That's like making an investment. And, in the last 10 years, gold has returned only as much as rupee has depreciated since then. Gold itself in dollar terms has returned zero. Even though it is at $1,800 per ounce today, it was $2,000 in 2011. So in dollar terms, it has not given any meaningful return even today. And I would say going forward, India also possibly are going to see something like that. So I don't like it per se from an investment angle. If you like to wear jewelry, of course, please buy, wear. That's just an expenditure. That's like buying a car. It's nice, you use it, it's a very good thing, but I would not suggest it for investment. Real estate, especially, so I come from, my father bought a property, and there was a piece of land also at some very far away place. And there was trouble in all sorts of things, including renting out the property. There was an issue, and person did not pay rent, and it was a painful thing and all that stuff. And my mother had to deal with all of this after she was 60. In another place, before my father passed away, there was an issue where somebody came and occupied the land, and there was some problem because somebody had sold two people the same land, all sorts of complications. I would say dealing with these kind of issues, like your rental fellow calling you and saying, sir, my geyser is not working. All of these things are a pain. So using money to invest in real estate makes sense if you're actually very well versed in real estate per se. But in general, I would say not a great idea because of all the problems that it creates for you. In my mom's case, she has sold all real estate except the one house that she owns, she lives in. Everything else is sitting in FDs. She's very happy. I think that is a good way to keep whatever she does not have in equities, she has in FDs. And in that context, things are very good, less stressful for her now. I would say if this stress bothers you, don't do FDs, real estate. And especially don't do real estate in a different city. But otherwise, if something happens, you have to go there and all that. So it's a painful thing. You can redo this anytime in life. You can own one house, the house that you live in, that's fine. But investing in real estate, especially after you're 60, can be very troublesome. So if you can take that trouble, so there's no one answer that fits to everybody. If you're happy taking that trouble yourself and doing things like that, then it's okay. But if you're not, if you're a person who says, I don't want this kind of trouble for myself, then you can say, this. So you have to decide whether you're that kind of person and then put on real estate. Because real estate is a very large chunk of money now. So to buy a 2-bedroom house, if you're putting, say, 75 to 80 lakhs or 1 crore, it will be a significant part of your liquid net worth. Then what happens is, let us say you have 3 crores and 1 crore is blocked in the house. And that 1 crore house today will give you 20,000 rupees a month as rent, roughly 2% dividend yield. Even if the house price goes up, unless you sell it, you don't realize the house value, right? So you keep getting 20, 25,000, 30,000 rupees as rent. Instead, you could take that 1 crore and put it into a bank. You'll get 50,000 rupees per month because even at 6%, 1 crore will give you 60,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. Then you got excess money that's just in real estate. Financially, it's always going to be better to not buy real estate, but you should buy it for emotional reasons, like you want to own a house. Another one is you educated your children. They are all probably earning and working and all that stuff. Let them buy their own house. You bought yours. They will earn their money. They will buy their houses. Please let them, buy whatever house they want. So you don't have to buy the house for them. You shouldn't buy like, oh, this is my house. I'll buy one house for this one house for that one. Then they're all sitting. They have decided one day I'll move to Australia. Then who is going to take care of this house? It's a bit of a pain. So I would say in general, unless this is something that you've promised, and if it's very specific emotional reasons, I would say don't do it. Instead, give your children the money only instead of buying a house for them. Let them figure out what's best for them. Okay, so the other one is, of course, your children may ask you for a help in terms of giving a down payment for their house. That's a different aspect. That's something that you can go. Okay, so I would say the next part is equity, and this is the point which you asked, Purushottam, which is how much do you need as equity? Again, this is according to you. Like I said, risk is there. If you're a risk averse person, go to 0% to 30% equity. That means if you have 1 crore, put only 30 lakhs in equity maximum. If you're a little bit more risk averse, in the sense you don't like your portfolio to move around too much. If you're a person who is more aware of risk, then you can increase that rate. Now, how much you can increase, that depends entirely on you. Some of our customers are as much, they have 100, 150 crores. In that 150 crores, I can't say don't put equity. At 150 crores, why do you need the money to be in debt? The person is spending maximum maybe 1 crore a year. So that 150, he can put even 135 crores, 140 crores in equity if he wants. But that particular person is like, I'm not very heavily into this. Give me half equity, half debt. So they are doing half equity, half debt. It is not required in the sense they can do as much as they want, but they are more comfortable doing 50-50. So their portfolio is 50-50. Of course, markets are up, markets are down. It doesn't bother them so much. The idea is find what you're comfortable with. But don't go to equity because you expect that market will give you 15% per year. Therefore, you can earn more money, and that more money will make you live your life. Markets are not predictable. 1 year, they'll give you 15-20%. Another year, they'll give you minus 10% also. So you can't depend on them for income. So whatever you don't need to depend on for income, that is what you can invest into markets. And there also, according to the profile, I would say between, low risk could be 0% equity to 30% equity. Low risk in the long term, I'm saying 5-year plus time frame. And high risk could be 75-80%. I am personally at probably 80-85% equity. But for me, it's okay because I understand markets and all that stuff, and I'm okay to lose part of this money temporarily also. Even if it goes down 25%, I'm okay. But you may not be that kind. If you find out where you should be and then adjust yourself accordingly. So it's very personal. There's no one size fits all.
Sir, one question I have is, how safe is blue chip investment?
Blue chip is as unsafe as anything else. I'll tell you, Yes Bank was a blue chip.
Yes Bank was a blue chip. I didn't know that. Anyway, thank you.
Yes Bank was in the Nifty. It was the top 50 companies in India. So even that went down from 300 rupees to 10 rupees. In fact, now it is some 16 rupees or 17 rupees. So a blue chip is not safe. It's just like, oh, Yes Bank is better than some, I don't know, Lakshmi Vilas Bank. Lakshmi Vilas Bank went to zero. So yes, relatively speaking, one share may be slightly better than the other share. But what difference does it make to you? Even if you lose 80% versus somebody else loses 90%, it does not make you more happy. It just makes you feel like, how did I lose 80% in the first place? This is a blue chip. So I would say in general markets, stock markets, you can invest in any kind of company. One way to reduce your risk is to invest in the largest of caps. That means large cap funds or index funds like Nifty index funds, which is the top 50 companies in India. Here also 1 or 2 companies like Yes Bank will go down so much, but it's okay because the index as a whole does not go down so much. Even when Yes Bank went down 90%, the index fell because of COVID. At the same time COVID was happening when Yes Bank was falling, index fell about 30%, let us say. But that is because all the stocks in the index fell at the same time. But in other times, you'll find that index is flat or close to, it was fallen 1 or 2%. Some stocks are falling 25, 30%. The index gives you a more broader approach to the whole thing. And that might be safer in comparison with, say, other equities, but it's not safe in comparison with, say, fixed deposit, debt funds, LIC, pension policies and so on, where you don't have the same volatility up and down. Even a large cap can go down 40-50%.
So
okay,
you don't advise equity funds, basically.
You can. As I said, the equity funds are only if you are able to take equity. And I'm putting this caveat because it makes sense for me to say equity is good for you only if you're able to take the risk. But if you're able to take the risk, equity funds are a good thing, and you can buy index funds or equity funds.
So index funds are better than the blue chip ones, is it?
For the large caps, yes. So these mid cap and small caps, the funds do better than the index fund. So an index is just a list of stocks. So if you take a list of the largest companies in India, which is the top 50 companies, the index funds tend to do very well over a long period of time. And this is true abroad also. So you can just buy the index funds for the largest cap blue chip kind of funds instead of the blue chip kind of funds, because index funds are also, I mean, a Nifty index fund is a blue chip fund, but you would, for mid caps now, you can choose active funds. The world has become complicated. There's an active fund, there's a passive fund, there's a direct fund, there's a regular fund. All sorts of things are options are there. I could go into those into some detail, but I think we might end up sidelining. So let me just finish this part, and then I'll come back to the equity part.
Thank
you. Thanks. Okay, so I'll quickly do this second part, which is, I mean, a lot of you will be looking for fixed income. When you have fixed income, means you have a certain amount of money. I want to invest that money so that a certain amount of income comes every month. Firstly, there's a PMVVY and a senior citizen savings scheme. Oh, sorry.
Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
Okay, so there's a PMVVY scheme, which is a scheme from LIC, but it's Pradhan Mantri Vai Vandana scheme, which is, I think they give 7.5 or 8% per year guaranteed from the government. Maximum year is, I think, 8 lakhs for per person. Senior citizen savings scheme is maximum 15 lakhs per person. They give 8% interest. And now they're doubling it from April 1st to 30 lakhs per person. So if you're a couple who both of you are senior citizens, you can do 60 lakhs. Government will give you 8% per year. So for 30 lakhs, 8% per year is 20,000 rupees per month. So this much money will come from the government. You have to pay tax on it, of course. It's like a regular fixed deposit tax, but it is guaranteed by the government. Probably one of the best you can say. When it is government guaranteed, it is super low risk, right? So you can get other people who say, oh, this bank is giving 8.15, but the bank can be risky, more risky than the government. So I would say use the senior citizen savings scheme as a option, especially if you want pakka income till this much. They have post office, MIS and NSCs, they are lower interest rates, but they're safer. They're safe also. Today, where we stand today, banks have increased their interest rates to higher. So fixed deposit from large banks are giving you 7.5, 7.75% also. This is fairly safe from the largest banks. I think those are options that you should explore first. Senior citizen savings scheme, fixed deposit from large banks, PMVVY in the first three, and then the post office monthly income and national savings certificate. There is an RBI floating rate bond. Currently, it's paying about 7.35%, locked in for roughly 5 to 7 years, depending on your age. There is I don't know if there's an upper limit to this. I don't think there is. But the floating rate bond actually helps in ensuring that you get this income on I think it's a semi-annual basis. So once in 6 months, you will make money directly from the government. All of this is taxable. So you park the money is locked in, but it pays you so much money. Almost all of the schemes are like this. Then there are gilt funds. Now, if you're worried, if I give it to someone, he will misuse it, he will do something, and how can I give this money to this bank? It is not safe bank, Instead, you can give the money to the government through something called a gilt mutual fund. Here, gilt funds that are long term, you actually lock in your returns till 2027, till 2033, till 2043, things like that. The gilt mutual funds that you buy, they will also go up and down. The up and down means that the government bond which they have bought, it's trading in the market just like a stock. Like the stock market also, it goes up and down. But the up and down is not so much. In stock market, a stock can fall 25%. In a bond market, maybe the value will fall by 2-3%. So the volatility is far lesser, but it still has an up and down movement. So what is you're investing into something really safe that will guaranteed pay you a certain amount. But if you want to sell it today, tomorrow, it may have higher or lower value than what you paid for it. But if you wait for the time that it is done, so let's say 2027, you bought a bond fund for 2027, till 2027, if you wait, then you will not lose money because the government is guaranteed to pay. So that I think is clearly something that you can consider. Then you have tax-free bonds. Now they're no longer easily available. Now you're getting into territory where you have to talk to a broker or somebody who will help you find these bonds, PSU bonds, tax-free bonds, slightly higher interest rate. Now let us say your 30% bracket. In 30% bracket, like I told you, 5.6% is what you will get if you invest in after tax in an 8% fixed deposit. What if I told you there's a tax-free bond? That means the interest is tax-free to you, but it's paying you only 6%. That's 6% is better than investing in 8% fixed deposit because 6% is after tax. For the 8% fixed deposit, 5.6% is after tax. So the PSU tax-free bonds, they still continue to trade. Today, they're not so easily available, but the yields have reached 6%, 6.2% there. Then there are many smaller banks which give you savings accounts. These savings accounts can be as much as 8%. I think there's Equitas and Ujjivan Small Finance Bank and a bunch of these things who are giving fairly high savings bank interest rates. They say if you have 15 lakhs, we'll give you higher interest. 25 lakhs will give you higher interest. So they will give you these things. That's less safe, but can be used for a small portion of your income if you have that extra. Then you have the more riskier options even in fixed income, which is high-rated corporate bonds. Maybe somebody will come to you and tell you what you should avoid is a certain set of bonds I'll talk to you about. Corporate bonds, you can invest directly or through a corporate bond mutual fund. Here, what they do is they go buy bonds of companies like NTPC or REC. These are all public sector organizations, or HDFC, Reliance, and all of these companies, very high grade corporate bonds, which tend to give a slightly higher interest rate. So what government will pay 7.5% for a certain period, these bonds will pay 7.9%. The difference is small, but it's slightly higher interest rates. And lastly, you have something called InvITs and REITs. I can cover those in more detail, but these are risky bonds. What happens is they collect a bunch of commercial real estate and they rent it out to corporates like Intel and all of those things. Those corporates pay rent. These people take the rent, they take the whole setup and they divide it into units and call it an REIT, a real estate investment trust. So whatever interest they receive, that interest will go piece by piece to each unit holder. So effectively, you get ownership of a commercial property through this thing and also rental income. These things, I told you residential rental income is only 2%, 3% of the asset value. In commercial, it is as much as 10%. So they tend to get higher returns here. These are okay to invest in if you understand, like I said, but if you don't understand, don't bother. I can go into it more detail if you like. And what I would tell you to avoid is people who come to you with high yield. There are lots of places which will say, oh, there is this some Shriram transport, nothing bad wrong with Shriram transport, but it has some risk. That risk is something that you don't know very easily. They'll tell you giving 10%. I say avoid. Anything when the market is giving you 8, 9%, if somebody gives you 10, 11%, it's usually something is wrong with it. Anything that is very high yield, avoid like crazy, because that means the risk is not something you are being told. Today, there's one bond by Andhra Pradesh government that is trading at 9.75%. But I know for a fact that it is almost not, it is not guaranteed by the Andhra Pradesh government. It is called Andhra Pradesh government bond, but it's not actually, it's called Andhra Pradesh. There's Amaravati, which was a city that was supposed to be created in Andhra Pradesh. But it was, when it was created, some bonds were issued. So they'll say it is Andhra Pradesh Capital Development Authority. They will tell you guaranteed by government, but it is not guaranteed. I know that. That's why they're giving 10%. Why will Andhra Pradesh government pay 10% when Indian government is paying only 7.5%? Doesn't make any sense. So anything high yield, you should avoid. Banks will, some people come and sell you something called additional tier 1 or 81 bonds. They will say, oh, this is giving 8.5%, 9%. Bad bonds. In Yes Bank, anybody who bought these bonds lost all their money. 100% of the money they lost. So for some 1% extra, don't lose 100% of your money. So I don't think you should buy 81 bonds at all. Avoid them like the plague. In fact, whoever is telling you this, you please tell them not to talk to you again. So the three things that I would say is that people will sell you bonds saying, oh, this is very good, but this is unlisted, unrated bonds. Something is wrong. Some cooperative bank is doing it right now. Unlisted, unrated bonds at 9.75% or 10.75% or something. Bad idea. In life insurance, there are savings products. Savings products are a bad idea. The new tax code means after April 1st, if you buy anyway, it's going to get taxed if the premium is above 5 lakhs per year. But anyways, insurance savings products typically give you only 5-6% a year, maybe 5% a year. If you put something which is giving you 5% per year, it is better to buy almost anything else, fixed deposits, debt mutual funds, even equity over the long run is likely to give you more than 5% per year. I would say don't do some product like this, which there is the life insurance savings products, unless you understand exactly what it means and you're comfortable with it. In general, I would say fixed deposits are a better bet. They're more liquid also. In life insurance saving products, first 3 years you cannot exit. Then there is surrender value. Surrender value means you lose 70% of your money. That it's a big problem, right? So I would say don't do it. For legacy planning, some people consider doing it, but it's a complex process where today you don't need a life insurance policy to do legacy. You can just directly transfer write a will by yourself, willing it away to your children, and they will still not pay any tax. So it's better off to have FDs only in that case. And any product that is complex, don't buy it. They put one formula saying you will receive 1.2 to the power n by 5 if Nifty crosses this much. All such products, waste of time. Don't do it. I'm telling you, we've analyzed these products. In general, they mean that you will get a lower return than anything else. So don't buy such products if you don't understand them. The easiest is mutual funds for you because they're tax efficient. Like I said, to be honest, I say this, but it's not easy to convince anybody, but fixed deposit means you get some money every month. Let us say you put the same money. Today, you can put money into a 1-year bond fund also. You will get 7% per year, roughly. Okay, so even if you put it into the fund, you take out money by something called a withdrawal plan. The taxation for you, net taxation for you, even if you take out money every month, just the interest portion of it, that the taxation for you because of certain income tax laws, and I will send you a video on how this works. I'll send the link later. It's a very simple way for you to take the money out at effective taxation of less than 10-15%. That means your effective taxation rate is less than 15% instead of paying 30-33% as that you pay on FDs. They're also very tax and they're mostly expert managed. So you can open it easily now. You can open it online also, but you can talk to a distributor who can help you open a fund and manage it for you fairly easily. Okay, I see Sudhakar has a hand up. I'll take the questions now.
Please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Mr. Sudhakar. Hello. Hello.
I think he's not there.
So maybe you can answer the chat box question.
It's a chat box question about PMVVY. What is the min duration? I think PMVVY has a specific duration.
Deepak.
Oh, sorry. Just 1 second. I'll just answer. Mr.
Just want to make one correction to what you have said on PMVVY. The maximum permitted deposit is not 8 lakhs, but it is 15 lakhs.
15
Now it is increased to 30.
No, that is senior citizen scheme.
No. PMVVY. Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana, the maximum permitted saving is now 30 lakhs.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to make this correction. That's all.
Okay, there is, see, they still say maximum is 7.5 lakhs.
No, sir. I have myself who have made a deposit.
Okay. Maybe things have changed. Yeah. I have seen only this.
Right.
This is, it still says maximum purchase of 7 lakh. Maybe they have changed it because they changed the senior citizen savings scheme also in this budget.
Right.
So, okay. So I will do one more thing, which is, I think some, okay. So,
And request you to please share the tool, sir. It looks interesting.
I'll send you this.
Please,
It is actually plan.capitalmindwealth.com.
Yeah.
It is our,
Right.
so you can, I'll send the link.
Thank you, sir.
I'll put it on the chat screen.
Yeah.
If that is easy. FD is 30% default taxation based on income. Of course, it's based on income. Most of you will have it. That's what I was thinking. So for instance, if you're getting pension, if you're having other sources of income or rental income also, then you put one FD, then your rate will go to 30% for incremental income. So I'm just choosing 30% because of that. But if it is less than 30%, to be honest, there are other mechanisms also to make it less than 30%. I'll come to it. But if your rate is less than 30%, then of FD can give you a higher return. That's in fact even better. That makes your life much easier. And Manisha is asking about what about annuities? So annuities are good in the sense that if you're, I'll give you one example why annuities are good. Let us say you have a certain amount of money. And let us say for whatever reason that you want to ensure that this money is not available for anyone to take away from you for whatever reason. Again, this is just about, let's say something happens and, then the money can go, then you'll have nothing left. It could be invested in a fixed deposit, but somebody can take the brick, take your signature and break the fixed deposit and say it's. So this is very complex, this thing. You can say some part of the money, I don't want anybody to touch the core money, but I will get every month one income from this money. You could buy an annuity from a life insurance company. The problem is the annuity rates are very, very low in India. So if I look at an annuity plan from LIC, you get something called Jeevan Akshay 6. I think this is not there. Okay, so sorry, there's an annuity plan called, I think pension plans they're called. Okay, something is wrong. LIC is not working right now, but maybe, is that correct? No. Yeah, so there are some problems with the LIC website. So let's see another one, SBI Life Annuity Plan. So there are annuity plans. The problem is for 1 crore of annuity, 1 crore of purchase price, they will give you only 6 lakhs per year or 7 lakhs per year as an income. So, oh God, this is they require to do all sorts of things. Okay, so let me see if there's a brochure. 1 second, I'll just see where the options. There are lots of options in an annuity also. You can say, give me an annuity as long as I live, please give me a certain amount every month, every quarter, every year, or whichever. You can choose the period at which is paid. Then there's something called with return or purchase price. You get paid as long as you live. After you pass on, then the rest, the purchase price, whatever money you had, is paid to the nominee of the life policy, of the annuity. And then lots of other options, increasing annuity and annuity with a certain period only, and so on. You can buy this. Now remember this though, the annuity that you receive is fully taxable. So if they take your 1 crore and pay you 6 lakhs, that 6 lakhs are taxable. So if it's the only money you have, it's okay. But if it sits on top of everything else that you make, then unnecessarily you're paying tax also on the money that you're getting on this. Plus, you cannot access that 1 crore at all as long as you live. That means that money is gone. It is also spent. It's only that this money will keep, this annuity will keep coming every year. One big problem in India is, these insurance companies keep saying, oh, you have to come and visit us every year just to prove that you're alive, because otherwise they'll stop paying the annuity. So you buy an annuity, you have gone for a holiday, they're saying we won't pay your annuity unless you come and show your face to us. This is a big problem. So you can't even do video call and show yourself and all that. That does not work. You have to go there. That, I think, is a pain in the neck for annuities, but otherwise they're good things only if you want to ensure this particular piece. But in the longer term, if you're not afraid that someone will take your money, or some of you may be thinking, if I have so much money, I only will spend it off, then you should buy an annuity with a certain part of the income. But otherwise, see, now if you're an NPS subscriber, National Pension Scheme, when you retire, 40% of your money has to be used to buy an annuity. There's no choice. So you have to do it. There is that. So I think that way, yeah. So 5 lakhs a year for 6 years and get 10,000 for life. Okay, that's the 30 lakh rupees for 30. So if the HDFC has an annuity with 5 lakhs a year for 6 years, get 10,000 rupees for life. Think of what they're doing. They're putting 30 lakhs into something. Take that 30 lakhs, they are getting, let us say they're getting 7% on it. For 30 lakhs, 7% is 2,10,000 rupees per year. 2,10,000 rupees they are getting. They are giving you 10,000 per month, which is 1,20,000. So they are making 2,10,000. They're giving you 1,20,000. It's like, might as well you save 5 lakhs a year into a fixed deposit and do some 30-year, you can buy a 30-year government bond also, which guarantees you 7% for the rest of your life. And you will get more. You will, instead of 10,000, you will get 17,000 rupees a month. That way it's this thing. Annuity life certificate once in 5 years. Yeah, sorry. I don't know when that is, but somebody asked for my mom and all that. So it was very complicated. So, because someone has to do it. Great. Cheers. So that way, in mutual funds, we're advised to invest max in 5 to 6 funds. If you heavily, then the funds don't well. Then you will have the issue of shifting to other funds. Yeah, that is true, very true. Your funds will, some of your funds will not do well. But think of it like this. Wait for 5 or 6 years and then consider moving to other funds if you may, because some funds will do badly in 1 year. Some funds will do better. Next time, it will become ulta. The funds that did badly last year will do good in the subsequent 1 or 2 years. And then the ones that did good will do not so good, and so on. So everything balances out over some time. So you give it some time. Only if it's bad that you should consider rejigging the portfolio in general. I would say then that is when you should do some management of how to do things. You can even do it slowly over time so that your gains, the taxation on the gains can be balanced out. Instead of moving all the money to another fund at one time, move say only 25% from one fund to the other fund. That way your taxation is less, plus you're giving the new fund another year to show its performance before you're considering moving more money out. But in general, I would say keep a limited number of funds. And if you're afraid of moving funds here and there, index funds are actually a very good idea, especially in equity, where an index fund is just an index. There is only buying the top X stocks. It does not do any selection. There's no intelligence involved there. Question is, should we restrict it to only 5 or 6? Yes, you should. I mean, beyond 5 or 6, I don't think you're getting any diversification benefit. You're just getting 10 of the same thing. It's like, instead of giving you one pizza, I give you 8 pieces of the same pizza. And I tell you it is 8 pizzas. So in the end, if you buy 10 funds that are large cap, all of them are buying the same companies. So by and large, you're getting the same fund. So 6, 7 funds, say 2, 3 large cap funds, 2, 3 mid cap or flexi cap funds. And, that way it becomes 6 equity funds, maybe 1 or 2 debt funds, because that will give you the debt part of the portfolio. And that should be enough. But don't overload. So you got 25, 30 funds, then it's a pain, because every year you'll be miserable thinking some fellow has done badly, some fellow has done well, and so on. Okay, so Anita's talked about the next issues. Yeah, we've got also which PMS do you recommend? I would, in general, as a PMS, we are very careful about talking to, when we talk to senior citizens, we make sure they're aware of the risks that are involved and all that. But we run a PMS ourselves, so I can't be. I mean, I'm a little biased here, so I'd say it's consider ours. And I'll come to some interesting things that we have as well. So let me just move that as we go now. Can we, our FDs in small finance banks is up to 5 lakhs, so definitely safe. Some small finance banks are safer than the others, but that depends on the time when you ask me. Today, I'll tell you X, tomorrow, something else can have happened. And in general, I think the banking system in India is safe. Can we prematurely close PMVVY and SCSS? I don't think you can do SCSS. I'm not sure about PMVVY, but I don't think they allow you to prematurely close it and reinvest. They may not allow. I think it's locked for some period of year. So, okay. I think Purushottam, I already talked about direct equities. We don't have an advisory service on this front, but we don't, the mutual fund portfolios and all that, what we do in the PMS, we actually have a PMS equity mutual fund portfolio and a debt mutual fund portfolio that just at a much lower fee, we kind of manage, and we try to not change the funds for at least 3-4 years. But I'll come to that because I think I'll have 2 more slides. I'll quickly finish those. Let's say you're transitioning. This is an example of a transition. If you're building a MF folio with your grandchild as a nominee, that way what happens is this is like a special folio only for your grandchild. So this can be done with an equity fund because your grandchildren may be young and you just want to set up an SIP that goes for like 5 or 10 years and slowly builds up something for your grandchild. I'm doing this for my own children, where I have them as a nominee for one of the funds that I own, and that particular that particular fund is being built for them to enjoy. It's just for them to use as they grow older, and it's a relatively small amount of money today, but hopefully when they grow bigger, it will be big thing. Otherwise, you can actually build up trust. If you have a large amount, you can build a trust. A trust requires you to work with a lawyer. The lawyer will put together a trust, and that trust can have money, and the trust can be transitioned over in a particular time frame. You can say, my child will receive money when my child turns the age of 35. There's a reason for that, because up till 35, they may be doing a job, doing different things and all that. At the age of 35, they may need liquidity because to run a family, to grow a house and all that. So you transfer the chunk of money when they're 35 instead. So if you're alive, it's one thing. If you're not, it happens only when they're 35 and so on. So this is for larger amounts, we would suggest that. Those of you who qualify to build an Hindu undivided family, HUF, I think a lot of I know they say Hindu, but I think many non-Hindu religions also qualify. I don't know why. It's very complicated there, but it's good for couples where you can create another taxable entity. So both of you are taxable entities, but you can create a third taxable entity. And this taxable entity can then have an income of its own. So any gifts that you receive and all that stuff can be placed there, including property. The HUF can then be transitioned to your children once you are no longer there, because the ownership of the HUF can be you and your children, but you're the one who's operating it as the karta. And now even women can become a karta of an HUF. So it's once the karta passes on, the next and both spouses pass on, then it can be disbanded, and the assets can be transferred to the two children afterwards. This is what in general the rule is: always transition the largest chunk only on death. The idea being that don't do this before. It's just me speaking, but this is for your security and your safety. We have seen so many stories, and I'm telling you, it does not matter how this thing it is. I have forced my own mother, for instance, to not put anything in our names. Everything is with her name only as the first or the only operator of any account. There's a reason for this, is because no time, even if I get bad thoughts, should I be able to touch that money at all. So it's very clear that that is how we should be doing things, and everybody, I think it's sage advice for everybody to have that as a process. Now, one of the things that we are online, we are doing the Zoom call and other, but in general, I would say be well versed with the applications on your phone or on the internet, and you will be getting a lot of notifications and all that stuff. But whatever it is, don't share your passwords, don't share your OTPs. Don't do it at all. OTP though never, if a person calls you and asks for OTP, don't give. Just say not giving. I tell my mother this all the time. She also, now she's followed. So now even if income tax people will call and ask for OTP, we will not give. Even I won't give. I won't let her give also. It doesn't matter who it is. The OTP will not be given unless it is something like, you're receiving one parcel, he's giving one card or debit card or something. He's saying, I'll give you the card, give me OTP. You take the card, then you give OTP. Because then only it is okay to give, and make sure it's only for that purpose. Nobody from a bank will ever call you and ask you this. Yes, in case of seniors, if they do get dementia, that is one problem that I don't know how to solve. But at this point, you'll need somebody to help you. Unfortunately, in India, there is no way to solve this in a structural manner. So you need somebody to help you. We have had situations, but in each of these situations, family has taken care of it. And family is very supportive in this case. But we do have that as a potential problem, where once there is dementia, there is a potential that even advice that is given is forgotten or cannot be followed because there is dementia at that time, and so on. So those are issues. What if a senior gets dementia, and because it's a progressive disease, usually you will find out early enough, and you have to set up safeguards to do this. So in certain cases, there have been things like registering fingerprints in order to be able to, in case the signature is not possible at a point, or they've forgotten the signature in the first place, and to set up things like HUFs, trusts, and all that stuff, so that there's a plan in place. But more important here, I think, is that you need care. So care is the caregiver and the caretaker you'll have to figure out how that system works, so that even if it progresses into a deeper phase, that there will be a system of checks and balances. I don't have an answer for this right now. We're also trying to find something. So for something. So as we get an answer, I think I'll probably be able to expand on this more. Okay, we would say, automate investments as much as you can, because then you don't have to keep doing this stuff. So if you're doing an SIP, just do it once and let the SIP continue, and without having to do this thing every month. Don't share your card and account numbers with everyone, but that's this thing. Even account numbers, you don't have to give account number or Aadhaar card. You just say last 4 digits is so much. From last 4 digits, anybody should be able to say they are verified. If they're asking you for full card number, then you have a problem, right? Either you pay for the card by giving the card, that is one thing. But if somebody is asking for a card number or an account number on the phone, you say last 4 digits is so much. I will not give you full account number. Not going to give. Even if they say it's for verification, fine. You know my account number. You tell me, I will tell you whether it's correct or not.
Good advice.
So
That's good advice.
yeah, so this is this thing. And then, like I said, have two accounts, one for everyday use, one for a backup that has less money, but is this thing. So that's all. I mean, oh, sorry, I have one more. One of the ways you can preserve and continue to grow. We have done this at Capitalmind. It's called preserve. The idea is initially put all your money into, say, an FD. Whatever comes out of the FD, which you don't use every month, you put that into an index fund. So every month, if you put 1 crore, you'll get 50,000 rupees per month, let us say, and you're not using it because you're getting a pension or something. That 50,000 rupees you can put into an index fund. Then your 1 crore is always safe. It's only the incremental amount of money that is going into equity. Even if it goes up or down, it's okay. Over a period of 10 years, you'll build yourself a 30 to 35% allocation in equity over a period of time. This is good for you because it will reduce your volatility and fear, and your core principle will always be safe. Always use safe and high quality debt. So you can use a fixed deposit, you can use like PMVVY or any of these things that that gives you at least inflation oriented returns, and you build your equity exposure over time. So even the equity exposure goes up or down, it does not matter. This is also tax efficient if you use mutual funds for the debt part, which is what we do at Capitalmind, but you could use an FD yourself as well. Typically, this strategy taken as a whole, including debt and equity, is lower risk than equity, and over a long period of time has in the past yielded better than equity. So you'll see the results only after 5 or 10 years. But after 5 or 10 years, it should start giving you better returns than using any other fixed income instrument. All right, I'll stop here. I think this is what I have. Thanks, Anita.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody has any questions? So anyway, I have a question. So mutual funds, you think at least you should give them a chance for 5 years?
I think so, because there's not much reason to say. I'll give you, I don't know if I can show you this. But in general, mutual funds, any 1 year return tends to go up or down a lot, as much as plus 30%, minus 40%. You switch it to 2 years, suddenly the ups become only annualized only maybe 12, 13%. Bottom also only 5-10%. Once you go to 5 years, the number of times that you actually lose money becomes very less. So any 5-year period in India, if you take 99% of the time, 95% of the time, you have not lost money. Only 5% of the time you have seen, like COVID bottom. If you say COVID bottom is the time I want my money out, that is when the markets were also low and equities were also low. The 5-year returns were also low. So that is the time when you would have suffered a little. But just 2 months after that, things were better.
Right. Correct. Okay, so do we have any other questions?
Somebody raised their hand.
I know, I think, but it's gone. It's gone. I think either they left or they put it by mistake. So should we conclude here? In any case, if any of you have any questions that were not addressed today, I would like something more from Deepak. We have our email and our WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp us and we can pass it on to Deepak. Okay. So anyway, Deepak, thank you so much for a very informative session. And I think everybody really appreciated all your advice, though I think we may have to kind of digest it a bit. So anyway, this recording will be available. Yes, a lot of information in this past 1 hour. So anyway, the recording of this will be available about, I think, next week. And you can all come to the website and have a look at it. And please do join us for our next webinar, which is on the 25th. It's about legal issues of senior citizen women. And we will be sending you a WhatsApp message for our feedback. So I think, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deepak. I think we're ready to go. Last minute, any questions, anybody? Okay,
yes, thanks.
So we
thanks
can
very
up.
much. Thanks so much, Anita, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, bye-bye.